What's up, everybody? It's the second take for the intro. I'm just playing. But YB back here, a.k.a. Big Homie Scrub Dog, with another episode of Planet 24/7 Podcast. And we have a really dope guest today. Super exciting. So, man, let me just go ahead and just run through this incredible resume really quick. Before I say the resume, it's Yvonne Senat-Jones.
Yes, thank you.
Just practicing that one. Yvonne Senat-Jones.
Yes.
Okay. She has been in Gone in the Night with Miss Winona Ryder. She was in, I'm saying it right, The Orville?
Yes.
The Orville with Seth MacFarlane, Jason Alexander, Victor Garber, and many, many more. She was in The Mother on Netflix, which she just told me was the #1 movie on Netflix globally for 2023, which is crazy impressive.
Thank
she
you.
even said if this was in theaters, it would do Barbie numbers.
Mm-hmm. That's what the article said. Yeah.
That's what the article says. So,
it might have been because, small-known actress Jennifer Lopez. No, she's global.
Man,
it makes sense to me.
Killed it, right? Great movie. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. She was also in Sneakerella, which is almost like a hip hop version of Cinderella, right? Yes. But with sneakers. Instead of high heels and stuff. So, not to mention with Sneakerella, she was Disney's first Afro-Latina queen. Ooh, out here breaking records and setting records and stuff like that. That's right. Oh, another piece of her resume. She was on not one, but 2 Tyler Perry shows. The Oval and Ruthless. Yes. Not one, but 2 Tyler Perry shows. That's insane. She is also a voice actress. She was in, which arguably is one of my favorite pieces of your acting, The Bobby Brown Story.
Thank you.
Yes.
It was my lunch.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Look, we can just stop with the resume right now and just start there.
It was. Go for it. Ask me.
So the launch of Yvonne Senat.
Yes, it was because I felt led. I had been working at T-Mobile while I got my bachelor's in acting, while I got my master's in acting.
Time out. She was working at T-Mobile.
Yes.
Are you serious?
For 15 years, ever since I graduated high school, all through my college career, and beyond it. Once I graduated and got my master's, I came back. If you got a good job, you go back.
I feel that.
And they're flexible with my schedule. And so I had been there for 15 years, and I really felt like God was like, can go now. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Right? You've been waiting, because I had asked several times, right? I didn't get the release, and I did. And my husband and I were married at the time, and within 2 months, I was in Atlanta filming Bobby Brown. So it was like confirmation for me. It was, And actually, I had done the audition with my reps out here in LA.
Okay.
I didn't even get a call back for the role of Whitney, actually. And then I got a Atlanta-based agent in between then. Yeah. They didn't even know I went out already. They submitted me for Whitney. I went in. I went all the way to chemistry read, right? Yeah. And then they, of course, went with the beautiful Gabrielle Dennis, who I love.
Amazing job.
Amazing job.
She did that.
It was her role.
She did that.
What's for you is for you, and that was
Absolutely.
For Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Thankfully, what was for me, according to Miss Robbie Reed, is they asked me to read for Robin Crawford. And Robbie told me personally that when she saw my read, she told our director, that's your Robin. And so that's how I booked it. So it was just so tremendous. It was my,
So you were in LA at the time.
Yes.
T-Mobile for 15 years. That's so crazy.
Making the leap. Finally.
That's a big
leap. It's a marathon.
Right,
they used to tease me too. Like, if y'all watching, I know y'all, I love y'all, but y'all used to tease me because you go by dealer codes depending on when you started.
Yeah.
And everyone I worked with, they had a 6-digit code that started with like 5 or something. Mine was 0002 and then some other numbers. If you like, Yvonne, what's your code? 00001.
That's how you know you've been there for a long time. Dang.
I was an OG.
I feel that. So filming was in Atlanta.
It was in Atlanta.
So how did you get from, did you do the whole process of like headshots and you had to submit the video and all that other stuff?
Yes. So by that time, I thankfully had an agent, and I ended up getting a East Coast agent at the time. So they submitted me, and it was a self-tape. They had me read for Whitney again. The other one was in front of Robbie. That was the one out here. Like I said, nothing came out of that. It could have also been that they were taking a while because I was still like 2-3 months. You know, it takes some time for casting. And so I submitted Whitney, and from there I went to Atlanta and I did the chemistry read and with Woody. Obviously, tremendous job on that too, and it was fantastic. And then I came back, and a few days later they were like, "Didn't get it, but Robin." And so I just you know, because they're not the same person. Whitney and Robin are completely different.
Two different people,
I had looked at all her old tapes. She did not like the limelight, so it was very little footage of her. And then I just tucked my hair under a big hat from my husband. And just like, you know, it was 90s. She had baggy clothes, so I wore that and just did it. And thank God,
And what's crazy about your part in the Bobby Brown story was that part. There was one part in particular where you like blew up on Bobby. And at that time, like I was watching, I was like, God damn. Like you did that role so well. It was like, I believe you.
Thank you.
Like it was like I felt like I was in trouble because
that's
like
the biggest
she
compliment.
Did that.
Yes,
like she did that.
He tossed that chicken. If y'all watch it, I start eating his chicken rudely.
Yeah,
it was for him.
Yeah.
Totally out of
so
line.
Dope. So dope.
And he must have knocked that chicken completely out of my hand.
But that's how you know it's good acting. You know, for those that don't know, the Bobby Brown story is a spinoff of the New Edition story. And both films were great, by the way. And just that one scene. And to me, so I did some research and I found out that Robin was, correct me if I'm wrong, the assistant to Whitney?
Basically, she became that role, but she was like her best friend when they were teens.
I thought so. Best friend.
And then she kind of stepped into that role of just handling so many things for Whitney and kind of being like a buffer for her in an industry that probably needed it. But she did a lot.
And that's exactly my point, is because how well you executed that role. It was like, okay, I don't know if they're best friends, but she's acting like this is my best friend.
That's my girl.
That's my girl. Yeah. So just seeing that was amazing. But I'm gonna pause there, and I want to circle back to how did we get into acting in the first place? Because I know for a fact, like when you got to T-Mobile, I'm like, I know it wasn't, I'm going to be here forever. Like, it's going to be T-Mobile and that's it. Like, I know that wasn't the conversation.
Like this, I was like 18 and I was like, I'll probably have this job for a couple of months, bro. But you know what? Like, I really tell actors, and especially now that you have like big time actors like Taraji, different people coming out and just talking about salary discrepancy and all these kind of things. And thankfully now in the world of self-tapes, our industry is so functional, as in you could do it at night when you're done. When you get off your 9 to 5.
Yep.
You send out your self-tape. Now the flexibility, that's something you gotta have. That's why I stayed at T-Mobile, because I was just so blessed with my managers and my reps. They would cover for me. They understood.
Let's
go.
Shout out to the managers.
Come on. Yes, Bridget.
That's what I'm talking about. Right? That's right. People. Shout out Bridget. Let's go.
I remember, like they had switched managers, and my first manager, he was fantastic and he knew what was up. But we were having a new manager, and it was the first day she was going to manage me in my shift. And I got called for a commercial audition in LA, and we were in Long Beach. And I was like, this woman's gonna fire me. The only thing she said, she was like, I explained it to her. She said, okay, make sure you shout me out at the Grammys. Or shout me out at the Oscars. That's what she said. Yeah. And let me go. And she was so fantastic. I tell her to this day, like, girl, you saved my life. Like, I was really, really blessed. Man,
shout out to the manager. It's like, all right, I'm gonna let you go. You better get the role.
Yeah, but I was also producing. Like, I was one of the top sellers. You can't be with T-Mobile for 15 years and hopefully not have a ton of people who come for follow-ups.
Facts, yeah.
I would
you need
have
anything? No, I'm just here to see Yvonne.
I had a line. They called it the Yvonne line. It was just for me. It was just for me.
Really?
I swear, it was just as long as the regular line, but it was just me. And they
like,
wait.
How can I help you? No, I'm waiting for Yvonne.
They will wait. I love my customers.
That's dope.
I love my customers.
That's dope. Yeah. Okay. So were you doing theater at like a young age at all, or?
So it's funny. So I came in a little bit late in college.
Okay.
I would say all my life what I did do is I was an only child until I was 9.
Okay.
That's when my parents had a baby. And so it was just me with my imagination in the backyard. I feel like that was where it first got started.
Love that.
You know, X-Men 97's out right now.
Yes, absolutely.
I watched the original, and that would be like my playtime.
Yeah.
I'm Rogue. I'm like, Rogue was my girl.
Got
though.
it, yeah.
Always Rogue. I heard that they've up-leveled Storm, which is really exciting for me because I'm rewatching. I'm a bit of a nerd. I think let's just establish
That's okay.
this.
That is okay.
I'm rewatching the series at the advice of my friend before I watched 97, and I was like, see, this is why I was mad, because I felt like Storm, they were like, she has so many powers, but she would always get defeated constantly, and she's like claustrophobic, I guess, so they would always find some way to put her in a small space every episode. I said, man, miss me with this. I'm gonna be Rogue, throw something.
I feel that, yeah.
So honestly, as a kid, my imagination was like my best friend.
Yeah.
You know?
That's dope.
Which is why I was telling you, I really do like the video game voiceovers, because it's almost a throwback. It's like, this was my life. I just imagined it and said it, you know, and that's what I do in video games. So, but no, it was not something, we just didn't have theater in my schools. So I actually tried to be a model after my first year of college, did not like it.
I get it.
For you models out there, y'all are like,
kudos.
that's a skill set.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. You need to know what your face is doing. I did not get the best feedback from some photographers. So it's a very like tentative time in your life.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta. So my mom, who is from Bolivia, she was like, I tried to keep that I had dropped out for about a few months by pretending to go to school.
No. Okay.
Anybody here who has an immigrant mama, okay, and you're dropping out of school to be a model?
Yeah.
You would know why I pretended. But of course, my mom's favorite Bible verse, your sins will find you out.
Sheesh. That reminds me of the Cosby Show. I can't remember. Was it Lisa that dropped out? It was one of the Cosby kids.
I think it was, right?
Yeah, trying to hide it from. Yeah, I'm like,
She's like, give me back my money.
Yeah, give me. I want all, and had it to the penny. Like, I want my $13,413 today.
That was my mom. She said, you get. When she finally found out, she said, I'll give her this credit. She's like, you get 1 year.
Yeah, get it together.
1 year to try it out.
Shout out to mom for that.
You know what? I give her that. She's like, but after that year, you go back to school if it's not working.
I respect that.
And it wasn't working.
Really?
It wasn't working. I didn't like it. I'm grateful that God kind of just showed me enough of it that it wasn't a good experience.
Yeah.
So I followed through, and I went to El Camino College. Shout out to Elco.
There we go.
And I just took a class in everything I kind of liked to see what my major was, because it was business up to that point, just to be,
I feel that.
you know, safe.
Yeah.
And so I took an acting class, and it was an improv, and it was some kind of scene. Yeah, it was a scene where they get my wonderful teacher, Ron Scarlatta, who like honestly made me fall in love with acting. He gave my scene partner a prompt and it gave me a different one. Like you didn't know what it was gonna be. So that when he came into the scene, what he threw at me was so big and bold that it felt like I was in the moment. It felt like real life. And so that way, when the lights went off and we were done with the scene, it was like a high I'd never experienced.
Yeah.
It was like I think it was a throwback to going into another world.
Yeah.
You know, like I used to as a kid.
Yeah.
And I loved reading books, and fantasy books are my favorite. So it really felt like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was transported.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it. And I just needed to feel it again. And I remember being in the parking lot, because I'm like, oh Lord, this is a big risk, right? Yeah. And to be honest, I wasn't even that tight with God at the time.
I feel it.
But
keep it transparent. Love that.
Transparent.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember the time and the place right here in my mind, and it was this sense of like, I got you. I'm gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
And that was it. And so I
gotta
switched.
love that feeling.
And he has.
Yeah,
like I gotta testify, he has.
So would you consider yourself like, not now, but at the time, like a big and bold personality, or were you kind of like reserved and really
shy? Well, what I would say is I was shy with people, but like I always liked the limelight. I would be in all the dance concerts and things like that, and I laugh real loud. Like I like to be expressive. Yeah, I'm an expressive personality. Yeah, but I was never like I think I'm only like class clown in my family. In my family, I'm big.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest, right? In my family. And they expect it and they love it and they eat it up. So I think I like it. I thrive in that.
Yeah, gotcha.
But people make me a little bit more shy. So I tend to like, tend to wait to show that side of things, I think.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you kind of hold it back until it's time to show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Man, you know, it's crazy. I'm so engulfed with your story. It's just because I'm thinking of so many different people that are popping up in my mind, and you know, some people are just afraid to try. You know, but the fact that you went from 15 years at one location to, I'm not even gonna tell my mom I dropped out of college. Like,
sorry, mommy.
We're just gonna figure this out. You know what I mean? To actually going in and trying and then landing a role. That's a hell of a journey right there. You know what I mean? And man, for anybody out there watching, just please be encouraged by that. You know, don't be afraid to try.
Do it afraid. It wasn't like I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
I would think that's just for clarity.
You said do it afraid.
Do it afraid. Like I know people have said that before. And
put that like on the screen somewhere. do it afraid.
It's not mine. I know it's not mine because I see it all the time.
That's good.
You know, because I can't take credit for that. It was just like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. I love that. Do it afraid.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that with the colorful resume that you have, there were several times where you were just like, I'm scared, I'm terrified.
Oh, massively, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
With the people that you've been working with, Jennifer Lopez, Winona Ryder, Louise Guzman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tyler Perry, so on and so forth. I'm sure there's been a few times, not too many, just a few times where you were like, how do we get here?
I will say, you know, and we'll talk further, but focusing on the work, because I got my bachelor's and my master's in it, I think that's what helped me be calm in those situations. Because the first time I did an alcohol performance in front of my class, I had braces in my teeth. I had never experienced cotton mouth, and I did that day. I didn't have enough saliva for my mouth to go over my braces.
Yes.
I was shaking, trembling. You could hear it in my voice. And I'm still like, so why did I choose this? But I think it was because I was like, well, can't get no worse than that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I still loved it. I think that's how you know.
Wow.
If you love it, even though it's scary, like,
come
just gotta do it.
That's what I'm talking about. If you love it, even when you're scared.
Yeah, you do it. You just do it.
Man, that's a perfect place to stop right there. We'll be right back with more Planet 24/7 podcast. We are still here with Miss Yvonne. We'll be right back with more.
We're not the same. We're not the same.
What's up, guys? We're back with another segment of what's the name of this podcast? Planet 24/7 podcast. I drew a blank right now. We are still here with Miss Divine. Man, I'm going everywhere today.
Okay.
Miss
Divine,
Yvonne.
the Divine Yvonne?
Divine Yvonne. I like that. The Divine Yvonne.
I'll take it.
So this is one of my favorite segments. This is where we kind of play some games, get to know the guests a little bit better.
Okay.
So like I was just explaining to you, the name of the game, I like to kind of make it a little cheesy.
It's okay. I like cheesy.
Little awkward. So your name is Yvonne.
Yes.
So the game is called Is This Yvonne Real? Is this even real?
Yeah, I get it.
Super cheesy, super corny. If y'all don't like it, whatever.
Is this Yvonne real?
Is this Yvonne real?
Like
you feel me?
Oh,
let's go.
I mean, it's Yvonne. It's a tricky little,
little wordplay.
Okay.
So, with these questions, I'm going to ask you different things that happen on set with some of your co-stars.
Okay.
Right? So, let me give you one as an example. Give me your time on set with Jennifer Lopez. Like, give us a story
big grin.
I mean, if I got to work with JLo, I'd be smiling too.
You don't understand. Like, I've never really been like a fangirl of anybody, honestly, except Jennifer.
Really?
Except Jennifer. For me, maybe it taps into what we were talking about, where I was saying my mom's motto is like, get it done.
Yeah.
She's in fact, my nickname from my mom to me is hormiguita, and that's in Spanish. It's little ant because it means like always working.
Get it done, yeah.
Right? You get it done, you get it done. So Jennifer gets it done, bro. Like right now she's on tour.
Yeah.
She's on tour, but yeah, she's also doing this.
Dang,
So I'm gonna say like it felt like there had to be two of her because she would be on like Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. Then she'd be there at 6 a.m. the next morning. But like we're in maybe Canada. Wow. She went down to LA.
Yeah,
and now she's back in the morning ready to work, professional, everything. So it was crazy. But I would say, so just like the question is like my time, like in moment.
Give me a story or something that happened on set was like, is this even real?
What I will say is when I met her.
Really?
Because they did a really small, intimate dinner the day before we started filming, and my scene was first of the whole movie, so I was already like, ah.
Yeah.
But we hadn't met her yet, and she was flying in, and so it was a cute little Italian restaurant, very intimate, and there are about 3 tables of all of us. We're crew and cast, director, and then about 30 minutes in, she walked into the room, and it felt like all the air got taken out. That's the only way to describe it. And it felt like everybody stopped. It was like the room like, it felt like that, but then everyone was like, keep talking.
She's here.
No, I feel like everybody was trying to pretend they didn't realize she was like, everyone was like, yeah. And what were you saying? I don't think anyone was listening to anyone. It was kind of just like, she's here.
Yeah.
And part for me that was like, is this Yvonne real? Was she went with each and every person and had our director introduced her so that she knew who everybody was by name and shook their hand. And so when it came to me, I was like, oh my God, here she comes. Yeah. And I've had this question before, like, well, was she like, she's genuine.
Yeah.
Like she looked like right into my eyes and she was just like, hi, I'm Jennifer, and introduced myself. And I think it said something about like, this is the biggest honor, you know, and she's like, oh, thank you, honey. And yeah, so
that's so interesting because for those that have seen the movie, y'all know how Jennifer is in the movie. So yeah. so to hear the, you know, hey, I'm Jennifer, nice to meet you, and then see her character in the movie, it's like, yeah, you sure it's the same person? But that just goes to show
her range.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. I love that.
And her professionalism, because you're not going to always be that character offset, right? Oh, yeah, especially if you're because that character is so isolated, she doesn't even, like, you know, her and her daughter are having issues because she's just so used to being alone. So you can't bring that into a set.
yeah. But it's so dope how to hear how she can turn it on and turn it off.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's
massively
really dope.
skilled. It was such a gift.
I love that. Biggest gift. Okay, next one. Is this even real? Getting the first call to work with the legendary Tyler Perry.
Oh man.
Gotta talk about that.
My husband and I have a production company for our own video, and we were shooting a concert that was happening, and my agent called when it was over, and she told me, Yvonne, you just booked it. 9 episodes. It was my first recurring ever.
9 episodes. Let's go. Yeah.
They're flying you out next week. And it was just, I was in seventh heaven. It just felt like, I don't know, the best feeling.
Yeah. That's dope. Okay, let's dive a little bit. Did you ever get a chance to meet him? I'm assuming you did.
Oh yeah, he wears all the hats. Now it's different because he's on Netflix, working on those things. So I'm not sure how it works now. But at the time, he's producer, he's director, he's probably editing, like behind this, you know, watching what the editor's doing. Like he did it all. So yes, the first day of meeting him, he's very tall.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he's very tall. You know, just presence.
Yeah.
And it was just fantastic working with him. And at the end of it, I gave him a thank you card. That's my thing. Nice. That's the thing. My mom and me.
Y'all,
she's like,
take notes. Send out thank you cards.
So just for my actor friends, I think it's the easiest, most genuine, and just like, I don't know, the best way to leave your gratitude with someone, because especially for Mr. Perry, like, he's on to the next scene. Yeah. You gotta go. So it's not that I'm gonna be able to take up time. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I want to show my gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life-changing, right?
Yeah.
So I gave him the card, and I was like, today's my last day on set. And he said, well, it's your last day on this set, but it won't be your last day here. We're gonna bring you back. I was like, say, what?
That's dope.
And I think when that happens to you, you kind of are a little in awe and in shock because you're like, okay, well, maybe one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know? No, like I didn't know Ruthless was a spin-off series he probably already had in mind.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
And it included my character.
Really?
And so in a few months, I was on set doing a series regular role on this show with Mr. Perry, and it was just like, God, you're crazy.
Yeah. So what was that call like to say, hey, you know, this is my last day, and then Tyler Perry's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're gonna have you come back.
Yeah, and bump you to series regular.
I don't know what to say.
Well, I just said thank you. I mean, at the time I was just like, thank you. But I remember at the wrap of that first season of Ruthless, he specifically, we were all thanking him because at that time we got to take a group shot and stuff like that. And he was like, I told you, remember? I told you.
Yeah.
Like,
he reminded you.
He reminded me.
That's dope.
He's like, I told you.
I
was
love
like,
that.
I know. Just like that, like, I know.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I'm curious because these are really two cool moments with, you know, Jennifer Lopez and Tyler Perry. I don't know for sure, but if I was in your position, I'd probably just be bawling tears and crying. So I need to know, were there tears?
Oh, there were tears there were tears for me when I found out the news.
Okay.
Like, I have it recorded where I'm on the phone. We knew a call was my agent doesn't just call me up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we knew it was either going to be a yay or nay. So my husband started recording for the Jennifer Lopez one, right?
Shout out. That's dope.
Oh yeah. Hubby records everything. We had to do behind the scenes of this because it was like, I'm not here. Record it.
I feel that.
But that's what happens when you marry a cinematographer.
Yeah.
So thankfully he recorded it, but yeah, I was in shock. And then I got off, I just cried because actors, you know, and you're an artist too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always tell my actors, I call them my superstars because I feel like you're already a superstar. Like, it's all in you, you know? And so I tell my superstars, like, there's so much space and there's so many gaps in between your massive successes in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just us, it's the A-listers too.
Yeah.
You know, like, it'll be 4 years before you see them again. And they're working, and sometimes it's just, they're working on a bunch of projects, but it takes 2 years for movies to come out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So because there's so many gaps, then it's so important to fill that with like joys, other kind of joys and things.
Yeah.
But you know it, once that hits, once you get that success, you just been grinding all the auditions, all the holds and releases, right? Because they'll hold us and then they release us.
Yeah.
And that's the worst.
Just wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, what they'll say is they'll be like, okay, we want to pin her. Oh, I'm sorry, we went with somebody else. You know what I mean? So there's those all the time too. Yeah. So you have so many just little heartbreaks. Yeah. Sometimes that when it finally happens, it's like, it's like your body finally is like, can I cry now? Because it's been so hard. Yeah. It's like, okay, we can cry now, you know?
I feel that. Yeah. So speaking of the heartbreaks and the gaps, the pandemic. What did you do? Because I'm curious. You know, and especially in your field, there's been a couple of breaks. There was the strike, and then there was the pandemic. So what did you do during the pandemic? What did you do during the strike?
I was blessed and highly favored. That was my second year of being a series regular with Mr. Perry, and he was the only one who knew how to proceed. He spent time speaking with all the major players in Atlanta, heads of hospitals, governors, mayors, everyone, to figure out how to practically go back to work. And then he sent a PDF and Variety posted it. And that's how everyone got back to work. It was because of Mr. Perry. And of all the people to be working for, I was working for him. Wow. So I worked during the pandemic. I was massively blessed to be working during the pandemic. And then during the strike, I was also blessed in that a lot of the things I had been doing 2 years back to even 4 years back all came out back to back to back. They all came back. And thankfully, they came right before the strike because I didn't know part of the strike is you can't attend red carpets. You can't attend your premiere. And so the Jennifer Lopez premiere happened about a month and a half before we started striking. Yeah. So thankfully I got it in, which is a big deal because you work so hard, but people don't really, I don't think, see that work until they see it on the red carpet. Yeah. Next to Jennifer Lopez next to
Mari.
Yes, So it was just a really big gift. Now, what I will say now, it is slow moving back forward. It is. I've been talking to other actors, and there were people maybe waiting for the Teamsters. They had their another union, and April was when they were going to see if they were going to strike. So everyone's kind of like double dutch, like, do I go back in? Do I not? I don't want to stop production. So thankfully, it's gradually moving forward, but video game voiceovers has entered the picture, and I'm really enjoying
That was my next question. So is this even, Yvonne, is this even real, doing voiceover? And I know with some projects that you guys are doing, you can't really speak on or say anything until it's out, but on this particular project, it's already out.
Yes.
And that would be, let me make sure I get it correctly, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are a voice
It's the
actress.
one that makes me cool with all the Gen Zers.
Yeah. So how did that happen?
Oh man, it's just crazy. Like, voiceovers crack me up because you do not know what you're going in for, especially for the bigger ones.
Yeah.
They send you a ton. I was blessed enough to get with Dean Panera Talent. They're my reps for VO. And so they send you several just breakdowns is what we call them, a week, and you put yourself on camera. You don't put yourself on camera. You put yourself on microphone. The same mic you have here is the one I have in my house, actually.
That's right.
We have it in the office. I just send it off, and you send hundreds.
Really?
Hundreds. I was just about to quit, actually. My husband had to keep me in, and I was like, this is tedious. I'm not booking anything.
Yeah.
I'd never taken a class or anything. So I found out from other people, they're like, it takes hundreds. You just got to keep doing it. So I did. And then I booked this one, and this is what's funny. I'm in the recording booth, and they're like, okay, they give you the breakdown. And because I'm not a gamer, I'm sorry, but I love it. I'm going to get into it, I swear. Yeah. They told me the name, but I had no reference. I didn't know Keanu Reeves was like the face of it, right? So they tell me the world and everything, and I start recording. So then they're like, okay, we're going to let you listen to this person that you're kind of cussing out because he did X, Y, Z to you, and now you're about to blow his head off, but you change your mind. We're going to let you hear him. So they play it, and I was like, oh, okay, like an Idris Elba type. And they're like, so that's Idris.
like actually Idris?
Yeah, Idris.
No way. That's crazy.
No, I was like, wait, so I got that out of thin air? I clocked Idris. Wow. I clocked him. Yeah, it was the newest one with Idris and Keanu.
Wow.
And I'm just cussing him out. I have this great video game where I cuss out Idris Elba and almost blow his head off.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, this is cool. I can't wait to actually meet him in person because I haven't yet. He was actually recording in England at the time.
I figured.
Yeah. And so that was so cool.
That's dope. And you've had other voiceover opportunities as well, right?
Yeah. So I had one where they used my face.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like flying, and we were saying I'm like a big nerd. So that was like all my imagination. Any character that could fly when I was a kid, I wanted to be, right?
Yeah, I feel that.
So this one can like fly, and she kicks butt. Like, she's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And so
they like CGI'd your face onto the character?
my face.
Really?
Yeah. And then here came
dope.
another situation where I'm at the place where they're CGIing my face, and it's really cool because they have someone sit down with you. You have a ton of very intricate muscle things you have to do with your face, so they train you. They're like, okay, try. It's hard to do certain parts of your mouth, all on their own. So then I'm looking at one of the computer screens afterwards, and I see Gina Torres's face, and I was like, oh my God, I love Gina Torres. I was like, you guys CGI'd her? They're like, yeah, for your video game.
Wow. That's dope.
Gina Torres is the Afro-Latina actress I have been following since I was, I would say a teen because we're not that far apart. But she was in Firefly. She was just she's so fantastic.
Yeah.
And then she's in my video game.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, the mic. I was like,
You're good. You're good.
Sorry.
Perfectly fine. Man, okay. My last one. We kind of touched on it a little bit in the first segment where you were playing Robin Crawford.
Yes.
So, and then not only were you playing Robin Crawford, you actually got the okay from the actual person. So how was that?
From Robin. Oh, no, Robbie Reed.
Robbie Reed, okay.
I know, they're both a Robbie and a Robin. Okay. So Robbie Reed. My
apologies.
It's okay. I was like, did she tell you? It was okay. No, because Robin
I got some juice like that.
No, I'm saying. But no, Robbie Reed, who is the discoverer of like Jamie Foxx, and she's the casting director. And she was the one who personally told the director, that's your Robin right there. Yeah. So to have her, in fact, we just Keke Palmer, who for Soul Train, excuse me, the Apollo. We just met her at this Delta event, which is wonderful. Nice. And Robbie was there too because she's a Delta. Yeah. And I told Keke the whole story, and she was like, "Oh, if Robbie gives you the thumbs up, like." That means something. Yeah, because she doesn't just give it to anybody. So that's always been like one of my greatest wins, one of the things. And I feel like some people say things in passing, right? And so maybe in the moment, she probably wouldn't even remember she said that to me in the back of the van headed to the set, Yeah. But to me, I'm there right now. Like I remember her saying it and just me treasuring it like, because you hardly ever get feedback as an actor from the people who watch your stuff. It's like, hope it was good. I guess it is because I'm here, but who knows?
I mean, I guess Chris said it was good. If it's #1 movie, I guess it's good.
I guess so.
Somebody says it's good. That's dope. Yeah. Okay. Well, I learned a lot about you. I definitely did. You know what? The thing with this podcast is, you do your homework, you do your research. It's a whole nother level of when I actually get to hear the story from you personally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I did voice acting, this and that. But then you actually talk about, I got to cuss out Idris Elba. You know what I'm saying? Like, who gets to hear that type of stuff? Like, that's really cool. But unfortunately, we got to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with another segment of Planet 24/7. Miss Yvonne is still here, still dope, still super fly. That's crazy. We went way back to like the 70s on that one. My boy Mike and C.E.C is here, so we'll be right back with another another segment of Planet 24/7 podcast.
We're not the same. We're not the same.
What's up, everybody? As you guys already know, YB Terrion, aka Big Homie Scruff Dog. This thing is getting pretty wild now. And we are still here with the beautiful Miss Yvonne Senat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm having a great time. Like, I'm learning so much about you.
Thank you.
I'm learning a lot about business and the industry and mindsets and how to carry yourself and things like that. Send thank you cards, all type of stuff too. So this is the part of the segment where we get deeper. You know what I mean? I love tapping into the mind and how people think and how people feel. Yeah. Because it's one thing to, say, oh, just, talk to this person and in the end, but there's so much mental that goes behind it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, you can send in, your audition tape, but then once you get the role and then now you're on set and you got hundreds of people staring at you and action, that's a whole different mental, you know what I'm saying? So I'm learning so much about you. So I want to tap into that, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So let's start with Sneakerella.
Okay.
Right, which was a really, really, really big deal.
Yes.
So for those of you that's kind of skipped past the intro, you missed the intro. So Sneakerella is on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Right, and you are credited now as the first Afro-Latina queen. So dope.
The first Afro-Latina Disney queen.
Disney queen. Thank you for the correction.
The little girl in me was like, Disney. Because we're all about Disney princesses, as girls,
facts. Yeah,
so.
Princess Tiana. And
yes.
Belle, all of them. So I'm curious to know, what went through your mind, not necessarily when you got the role, but when you realized that you are the first. What was going through your mind at that time?
So it started to come to me because we knew the storyline, and in it they've done a role reversal where you know, in the original Cinderella, you have the prince, and then you have Cinderella kind of as like the pauper character. Well, they swapped it. So the my daughter was the princess of our sneaker kingdom, and then we call them instead of, it was Elle, right, instead of Cinderella. So then it started feeling like, oh, well, she's a Disney princess, so then that kind of makes you a Disney queen, right? And it was just, for me, I feel like different roles. I feel like every role I've gotten has had a more sentimental meaning, special to me, and specifically to me as a kid, which I think is very specific that God does in my life. And so for me, the way I fell in love with acting was, half of it was like the X-Men and everything, but the other half was Disney movies. So it was everyone wanting to be Ariel, right? And so they actually played a really big part in my upbringing and just my imagination. But there wasn't Tiana when I was younger, right? Like there was just no queen or princess that looked like me, you know? So for me to become that to another generation, even though it is live action, it's not cartoon, you know, but still, it definitely did fill me with like such a overwhelming sense of just purpose and also accomplishment. I would say I felt very, very blessed to have gotten that.
I'm curious to know, because you've mentioned throughout the show that, you know, your mother is also Latina.
Yeah.
You know, so if you can dive into your mom's mind, like, how did she feel? Oh, it's like, oh, mija, like, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, how was that?
Well, she was massively proud of me. I give my mom a lot of credit because I know it's not easy as parents, because I've met so many parents who are like, my kid loves it so much, I'm just so scared for them. And I get that. Like, the industry's not easy, and it takes a toll on you mentally if you're not you know, prepped, and even if you are, it's its own beast. So I get that part. But initially, you know, it was like, wait, what? When I told her I wanted to be it. But she caught on so quickly that she remembers that. I don't remember that. I only remember my mom being at every performance I did from that point on, after making it my major. And flying out to my master's graduation at South Carolina. And like, just, my mom is #1 fan, right? My husband will say like, #1 fan now.
That's right.
But she's like, I was your first.
Yeah.
So she just couldn't be prouder. In fact, my whole family came over and we had a screening at my house. And then they spent the next like 20 minutes, I'm not lying, my tias, which are my aunts, my mom, all the kids, all my cousins spent 20 minutes doing the same dance. There's like a dance where you put shoes on your hands in the movie, and then like someone's standing in the middle, and then these hands come out with shoes. They spent 20 minutes. I have a video of my cousin who's training them, because she's trained in ballet. She's like, no, this way with the hand, this way, tia, with the and then they did it in the alley. Like, we did like 4 takes. I just had the most supportive family anyone could ask for, and my mom is like head of that support.
That's dope.
Leading the way. So I'm very, very grateful.
Man, I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, I don't know if this ever crossed your mind, but because when I grew up, the first Black Disney princess that I remember seeing was Brandy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So to be not necessarily the second, but the first, technically second. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of got some big shoes to fill, because, you know, you got, it's Brandy and it's Whitney.
Well, because it was Whoopi who was the mom, the queen.
And Whoopi,
Right? So she was the queen in the first live action. So it wasn't like I could say I'm the first Black Disney queen, because I believe that belongs to Whoopi as far as live action goes. I think just in general, honestly, I think it's right.
That's
so
honorable.
I was like, you know, that's Whoopi. But then I was honored because I was like, well, I identify as Afro-Latina. So, you know, we were talking about ahead of it with Mike and everything. Like, technically, I'm a half and half blend, but I feel like a whole in a whole of both, you know, all in one. There's not one that's beating out the other. It's all in the same. So, yeah, it was just like, well, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's dope. And throughout your career, like, you've had some really big moments. You know, we mentioned Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba, playing Whitney Houston's best friend, being with Winona Ryder, playing with Boris Kodjoe and Shamar Moore, you know what I'm saying? Like, my
husband's like, okay, who else are you adding to this list? Because you're just working your way through all the most attractive black men in Hollywood, and I'm feeling some type of way.
I feel it.
When I came home, I was like, babe, guess who's in this video game with me? I said, Idris Elba. He's okay. This is getting ridiculous. So just because you're making that list is my husband's very aware of this list.
Yeah,
that you just stated.
I'm sure. But it's like, okay, because you have such a colorful resume, have you ever had a moment to where like you are just looking kind of like in a mirror in a sense, and it's like, dang, like I did that, and if you have, like, how does that make you feel? Maybe
it's right now.
I feel it.
That's like what's happening right now.
I feel it.
Because I think that's what so many people say, right? When they have been doing something for so long that sometimes you don't take the time to look back, which I think is very important. So true. For example, I'm really big on like, vision boards and just seeing it, write the vision, make it plain. And so
come on.
I have my little closet of all the things that I felt like God put on my heart, like this is going to happen. This is going to happen this year. And I wrote it down. And then I would just say it, and I put it in my closet because I always got to get dressed. And I say it every day, and I still, and I now have those same words, but then with like the deadline article, Yvonne Senat-Jones boards Jennifer Lopez pick, right? Or Sneakerella wins Emmy off the first Children's and Family Emmys, and Crossover wins Emmy for the second Children's and Family Emmy. And so it's just there to remind myself that God's faithful.
That was a nice flex, by the way. That was a really nice flex, by the way.
I'm just saying, 2 Emmys.
Hey,
they're for the production.
You got it, flex it.
They're not technically mine yet, right?
But
that I'm expecting them. Yes, I am attached to 2 Emmy-winning Disney projects. Both of my Disney projects have been Emmy-winning, praise God. So it's like, I think sometimes I have to remind myself of that because the industry is so, especially right now as we're quiet, right? Yeah. It can be very easy to be like, what am I doing? This is impossible. Yeah, absolutely. What am I thinking? Yeah. We have A-listers going out for my jobs now, like, because everything's so like thin right now. But I think that's also okay to pivot because my husband and I have a production company. And so I feel like we're not just called to do one thing. I think we're so gifted and skilled in so many talents that, all right, this is kind of, it's a machine that's on its own and it's working. Let it work. Well, what else can I work on? Let's work in this field here so that we can make our own projects, book our own people, get our own people out there, get our own soundtrack.
Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? I'm ready. My computer is on. I'm ready. Stop playing with me.
Right. So you have to. So I think it's moments like these. So I'm very grateful that you invited me out because I don't think a lot of us make the time because sometimes we just don't have the time. Because you don't want to get comfortable either. But but you do need to have these moments. I call them my their moments because, and that is mine because I know he said something. I was like, that's not mine, but this is mine. I'll tell my husband, I'm like, this is a their moment because I remember when I was like, I can't wait until I'm there. Right? Wow. And I'll tell him like, babe, when I used to drive by this place, I'd be like, I can't wait until I get to have a premiere there. And it's like your premieres at Paramount Studios. For Bobby Brown. It's like, this is my moment. I'm there. Wow. So I do have those where I try to clock them like, Yvonne, hold on a second because I am a get it done girl. Yeah. You got to stop and be like, this is where I prayed to be. I wanted to be. I expected to be. I worked so hard to be. I'm grateful to be. Come on. And then now we go.
Yeah. I feel that. It's funny you mentioned that. This morning, I had put on my social media. I had told you off camera. I love doing motivational messages in the morning. And my message this morning was, don't be so caught up in the future that you forget to be present.
Absolutely.
'Cause I'm the same way. Like, matter of fact, we talked about this, a couple weeks ago. I'm so, man, what do I got to do 6 months from now? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm so forward planning and forward thinking that I'm like, you know what? Let me just, matter of fact, so I'm very proud of myself because a couple of days ago, I sat outside this park right here. I had my little music playing, and I just laid in the grass and just dwelled. Yeah, I just took a moment.
Yes.
You know, but one thing that you had mentioned was write the vision down, make it plain. Yeah. So how you ended up being here is exactly that. So I'm gonna tell you the story. So as you can see from here on my desk, I got sticky notes everywhere. Okay. Right? Love sticky notes.
Mike is over your sticky notes, bro.
I got a lot of them. So
he's like, can I have some space?
While me and Mike and Chelsea, shout out to Chelsea too, while we were planning the podcast, you know, I had a list of guests that I wanted. But on the original list, it was just, you know, guy. I'm like, I don't have any women on here. And so I had found one. I'm like, okay, cool. I need another one. So I'm sitting here one day working on music. You popped up in my mind. Aww, I said, you know what? Lord. So I wrote it down. I said, let me write her name down. But I was nervous because I'm like, she's done this and this and this and this. I'm like, if she says no, I'm going to cry.
I think you might have said that to my husband, right? Something about being nervous.
Yeah.
He told me,
I was so nervous.
No, don't be nervous.
And so I was like, oh my God. Like, and so I kid you not, like your name was sitting like right where your phone is. Your name was sitting there like weeks before I actually reached out. Wow. And so the fact that you're sitting here
is
a their moment. There we go. It is definitely a their moment. So I got it. Thank you.
Right?
Praise God.
Yes.
So I got to know, was there ever a time where you felt like you didn't deserve to be there?
Like an imposter syndrome kind of situation?
Yes. Or almost like a how did I get here?
How did I get here?
Yeah.
I feel like that is the case. To be honest, I feel like sometimes it's the case on every role.
Yeah.
I will say that it felt that way on the premiere of The Mother, you know, because that premiere was like, it was a mega premiere. The way Jennifer Lopez is a mega star, it was a mega premiere. Yeah. So they had bomb sniffing dogs. They had like 5 times the amount of paparazzi. What? It was hardcore. Wow. They shut down all that one theater right there by UCLA, and and we got a police escort to the after party.
Really?
Straight up, like 4 motorcycle cops like drove with our car the few 5 minutes it took our SUV. Right. We were like recording them, like, oh my God, we thought they were for somebody. They were just there to usher us out. They were like, no, that's your escort. So that was definitely, we were just like, it was me, my mom, and it was me, Chuck, my husband, and my cousin, who's also my best friend. And we were just going crazy in that car. So that on that red carpet, you know, and then they're like, Jennifer's here with Ben. Like, Yeah. It was just, you know, and Omari is right there too, just hanging out, talking to my mom. Like, he was, and he does spoken word. I know we're talking about spoken word. She started with spoken word.
I didn't know that.
He did. Yeah.
Can we get him on the show?
Get him on the show?
Come on now.
He's wonderful. And he treats you like your kin. Immediately. So just being there, and you're just, and because we're such big fans of Power.
I'm so glad you brought that up. For those that don't know who we're talking about, he's Ghost.
Omari Hardwick, he's the Ghost. And so we're over here and then in fact, Chuck, because on set, before we wrapped, I was like, I have to have Omari meet Chuck. And so he goes, and Omari puts his arm around him. Hey, bro, they talk it up, chop. And afterwards, Chuck was like, I just felt like Tommy for a second. Because that's his best friend. For those who know, they know. And so it was just like, I think it's moments like that when it finally culminates and you get to look at it and people get to look at it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That it just felt like, God, you did that. Like, how? Because I just remember when so for that one, I don't know at a time, but I did write the vision and make it plain on that one.
Yes.
With, sweet 1 minute. Thank you, Mike. I always every year ask God, like, what do you have for me? And he just kind of shows it to me in just kind of a way of just peace that happens. And for me, it was Netflix that year.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like months and months and nothing was happening. I kept saying it when I would work out. I would like, Netflix number one, just work out. And then I ended up putting my face on the number one little symbol for Netflix.
Oh, wow.
And I put it on my wall there, and I kept saying it, and it's dated July. And then that thing of the booking for deadline is dated October. And it's underneath it. Wow. So being at the red carpet, I was like, you told me. You put it in my heart. I just knew it was Netflix, and I knew it was going to be big. I don't know how to explain it, but I just knew, you know? And then it really did manifest. And so I always tell people, I don't feel like I manifest things. I feel like I'm just waiting and hoping and faithing of what I feel like God has already put in my heart and my spirit. And then he manifests it, and there it goes.
I love that. I saw the 1 minute, but I got to do this with the episode. So these episodes wouldn't mean anything if I didn't ask this question. Because, I mean, aside from getting to know who you are, which I'm so glad we got to dive in a little bit and learn really more about you. As you know, I'm big on positivity and, you know, motivation and things like that. So for those people that are out there, actresses or voice actors or, you know, whatever, that are looking for the next step or maybe dealing with giving up or, you know, things like that. What would your message be to someone in that position of, man, I'm about to give up and no one's calling me, no one's, you know, what would your message be to that person?
Honestly, I would say that this is a lifelong journey. And it is a marathon, and it's not a sprint. And something I like to do is go to the IMDb's of like our A-listers, right? Like Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling. If you look, it's like there's 5-year gaps between these huge successes. And then they kind of, and then they're back, right? But then they're just like back and they're there to stay. So I would say the one who, I feel like it's whoever lasts the longest. That's more of the game.
The race is not given to the swift, but to those who endure.
That is exactly what I've been saying. Thanks for saying it that way. And it's hard. And so that's why I say it's so important to find what are you filling that with. And I think what we were talking about is find a way to like be in service of others with whatever you fill that with, because that will in turn fill you. And all of a sudden now that's so filled up that when you do get that next win, it's like, oh, has it been like 6 months since I got my last book? Oh, sweet. All right, on to the next.
That's good.
I feel like that's gonna be, and honestly, I feel like it's that way for a reason, because if you were just winning, you wouldn't have a reason to stop and do anything else.
Come on. Yeah, that's real. You guys heard it. It is not a sprint. It's a marathon.
It's a marathon. That's from my husband.
Journey.
He has to tell me that.
Shout out to the hubby Chuck.
Chuck
Jones. Well, that's it for today. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Yvonne Senat-Jones.
You're going to get in trouble with your friend.
Chuck, please, listen. I love you, bro. You know I love you. Shout out to C.E.C. over here. Mike, Chelsea, we miss you. We love you. Until the next episode on YB, this is Planet 24/7. I'm going to see you guys later.
Bye.
We're not the same. We're not the same.